What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on ChargePoint. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and if right now is a good time to buy or not. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So based on Friday, it did go up 0.74%, a lot of volatility. So 258 the low, 273 the high, 12.1 million shares being traded, 13 is the average. So a little bit low for that, but that's kind of normal for a Friday, so nothing really to worry about in my opinion. At the time of doing this video, no recent SEC filings, but the last PR that did come out was on November the 8th, and that was surrounding a very big update to their app, and plus them celebrating 1 million quarterly active drivers, which, as what they state, relied on this app to find, charge, and pay for fueling of their EV. So in my opinion, this is a pretty good thing. Some of the big updates that they did do on the app just ultimately were for usability, including improved tabs and filters that enabled a simpler app navigation. They helped to find station discovery and use, delivering a better experience when EVs drivers start to charge with their app, and just finding the right parking spots. So in my opinion, I think this is a very good milestone, but is a good reason to go out and buy ChargePoint because of this specific news. Not so much. My own opinion, not a financial advisor. Of course, you guys always do your own due diligence. But I'm going to go through some of the recent data points and just to give you a good overview of what it is truly all saying. So based on the options activity from Friday, there was $1.1 million in puts being purchased versus 224 in calls. So based on this information, and despite it closing green, a lot of people are anticipating for it to continue to break down. And that will make a little bit more sense when I talk on the technicals though. But specific, looking at the calls just for the volume, it is anticipated to be around $2.50 and higher, given maybe in the next couple of weeks. Vice versa, looking at the puts, it's kind of the exact same thing. So $2.50 and lower essentially in the next couple of weeks. So $2.50 is going to be a very strong pivot point, clearly based on the options. But once again, when I link it with the technicals, it will make a little bit more sense. But no matter what though, when it comes down to options, it is just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price. But as far as what shorts did, they did return 937,000 shares, 20.52% of the free float being shorted, 66.7 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 2.81%, and through interactive broker short availability does indicate that there's around 3.3 million shares available to be shorted. So in reality, shorts didn't really do too much, as you can kind of see based on this teal line right here. So they increased slightly pre-market, and then ultimately they just closed out some of their position, and obviously that is what kicked this off right here. But overall, the rest of the day, they were very, very quiet. No matter what, though, when it comes down to ChargePoint, just for transparency purposes, I am not here saying that ChargePoint is a squeeze play at all. The criteria just isn't there. So once again, that's just something for you to kind of keep in mind. But the fact that they did return on a green day does signal that they feel that it was justified. So that's kind of a positive behind the scenes to counter, I guess, the negative of the options activity. And just one thing or a couple more data points to give you a breakdown on. So utilization is 76.48 and short score is 76.39. So just so you are all aware of that. And a total dollar value of all the shorts that are in ChargePoint is estimated to be around $181 million worth. So who knows? There might be some good things coming potentially that shorts will naturally leave, not in a squeeze format, but who knows? That would be the best case scenario ideally. And when it comes to the latest round of 13F, so it is still that time of season where a lot of institutions are disclosing their positions on what they did during Q3 to the SEC. And so far, a lot of institutions, surprisingly enough, have held and maintained their position, which surprisingly enough, even Deutsche Bank, because I know they have been trying to mitigate some of their risk and get out of the EV sector, they did increase their position by 21%, so still a fairly small amount though. The Canada Pension Plan Investment Board maintained their position, so that's definitely a very good thing, despite the value going down almost about 43% just within that quarter. It looks like Citigroup, they did increase their puts by 117%. So that's kind of crazy, and UBS did also, looks like they made brand new calls and puts, which is a very common strategy for them to, and other institutions to have, but they increased about 1 million puts and 275,000 calls. But still, no matter what though, we'll have to wait until next week for what the big players in the game did, so BlackRock and Vanguard. My opinion, I think that they did increase during Q3, but we'll just have to sit tight and wait. No matter what though, despite the price action, this is oddly very, very positive. My own interpretation, of course. But when it comes down to December, so obviously that's when they do typically disclose when their earnings are. And so technically going forward, looking at the earnings per share, there's around 10 analysts with a consensus of negative 13 cents per share. It's not really much change for there. But looking at the revenue though, it is anticipated to be around 157.28 million, and that is based on 18 estimates. So when it comes down to if right now is a good time to buy or not, a lot of the data points are mixed. And of course, I'll kind of go over the technicals in a second and break that down. But one very positive thing that a lot of other growth stocks have started to really do during their most recent earnings is raise guidance. So in ChargePoint's case, if they actually do manage to raise their Q4 guidance, then that would be absolutely huge. And just obviously as a breakdown, ChargePoint does historically like to always unveil their earnings. It looks like around first week of December, maybe second week, as what happened in 2021. So most likely in the next couple of weeks, they will be disclosing when their actual earnings truly will be. But based on what some analysts are estimating for it, it seems to be fairly positive. And once again, coming from the company's standpoint itself, if they do raise guidance, I feel like that would be a huge buy. So up until obviously December, when that does come out, I think we're just kind of stuck in limbo, because I think the consensus is that they have been burning through quite a lot of cash. So their earnings per share might not necessarily be all that great. But once again, what do I know? If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as analyst ratings, forecasts, take a look at Interactive Brokers, link in the description below, and also the comments for all of this to be completely free. But let's talk on some technicals. So with it at $2.71, it is right now trading between this S1 and the pivot. So $2.31 is going to be that next strong support, which kind of is around that 52-week and all-time low. Vice versa, $3.31 is going to be that next strong resistance. Very wide gap, so you have to anticipate that there's a hell of a lot of volatility, and most likely I do feel that it is going to be continuing to trend down. So even though there's a little bit more of a positive momentum right now in the broader market, I feel like ChargePoint is going to continue to trend down up until their upcoming earnings, so around December-ish. And I just have a weird feeling that ChargePoint is going to raise their guidance, because oddly, a lot of the PR that has been coming out beside the app update has been kind of good. And it's just one of those things that as well, if you're starting to look at a lot of the metrics for ChargePoint, it has gone down dramatically. So in comparison to its peers, ChargePoint at one time was very much overvalued, whereas obviously a lot of the peers were kind of a little bit lower. But now ChargePoint has done a 180, so the PS ratio is 1.7 and the future is 1.4. So ChargePoint is that stock in that sector that has a lot of good, very good potential for the foreseeable future. As I've already said in the past, in my previous videos, Q1 2024 onwards, bigger and better things are going to be coming for ChargePoint. But even as it stands right now, like looking at the multiple, it is trading at a pretty significant discount. So once again, you have to factor in all of this, but no matter what, with the technicals and just the negative sentiment on the broader market right now, and it really punishing a lot of stocks that I guess are bleeding through quite a lot of cash. So essentially, I do feel that ChargePoint is going to continue to trend down slightly, but I think there is hope, at least in the foreseeable future. Very, very close, maybe around 1 month away, might be the essential low. So let me know your thoughts on ChargePoint. Do you agree with me? Do you think that their upcoming earnings is going to be overall positive, or do you think that it is going to continue to trend down to around $1? What's your viewpoint on all of that? It has been one crazy stock to kind of hold, mind you, because even looking at the year to date, this has been one insane downtrend, because I've been covering ChargePoint for a while, and I think even around maybe the $7 range, this is where I started to do videos like, okay, this is getting a little bit overdone. What is actually happening? Which once again, I think a lot of that had to do with a lot of the multiples, just people were looking at it versus what the future was being guided, and just didn't really line up. So let me know your thoughts on ChargePoint. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing, take advantage of this promo. It is only up until November the 20th. So sign up for an account with 𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗛, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, plus you get 1 free share of SoFi. So for $100, you get 6 stocks, and plus any cash that you do have, you are going to be earning 5.1% APY. So it's a win-win. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.